Hi teacher friends, it's Katie from Team Lucky Little Learners.
This week we will be taking a deep dive into teaching phonics while aligning to the science of reading. Let me walk you through what a week of phonics instruction looks like, from material organization, whole group, small group, and even independent work ideas. So if you are a primary teacher ready to rock your phonics instruction, this video is made for you. Let's dive in.
Like many other teachers, I have a soft spot for organized binders. So this week, I'm going to give you a peek at what I've been doing in my phonics binder to get myself ready to teach science of reading aligned phonics instruction. And it's way easier than you think.
Next week, I am teaching the short A sound. I am using Lucky to Learn Phonics to supplement my whole and small group phonics instruction because it is science of reading aligned. I'll teach the short A sound for 5 days, moving on to the next sound the following week. So let's take a closer look at my resources and plans for this week. Here's what I put in my binder so far. I'm going to add to this as I lesson plan for the school year. These pouches with our picture cards and word cards. And if you don't have pouches, you can hole punch a gallon Ziploc to put in your binder also. A scope and sequence and overview to keep myself on track. I like to put a little post-it flag where I'm at, and I love to be able to scan and see what the whole year of phonics is going to look like. I also threw in these short vowel activity ideas for when I need something extra, and a science of reading glossary that will come in handy at our literacy meetings. I have daily lesson plans, all 5 days, laid out, ready to go. Word and sentence lists for a quick daily warm-up. I have phonics letters with the teacher instructions, as well as my originals for small group and independent activities. I like to keep these copies in the binder with these flags to remind myself to make copies when I lesson plan. I then put these sticky notes in the back of my binder to use the next week. In the very front of my binder is my small group planning sheet. I also keep my phonemes poster in easy reach. One of the best things ever is digital teaching slides. I like to use Google Slides because then these daily lessons don't take up storage space on my computer. I'm organizing my centers and copies for each week in these drawers. You wouldn't have to do this though. You could use hanging files, folders, binders, or even just saving the files on your desktop works great too. In my short A drawer, I have the Phonics Center for the week, my decodable text and poem, student independent activities, and picture books that will go well with the sound if I need a time filler. Now this next tip may seem nerdy, but my next week teacher self always says thank you. I put in a sticky note with a list of manipulatives that I will need for these activities. Friday before I leave school, I pull out this drawer and lay out all of the things. Next week, I will only need dice and chalk as I want to do my phonics letters outside, and the dice are for an independent activity.
Some phonics essentials I have in my classroom are a sound wall, anchor charts, and these phoneme poster booklets. I actually give a copy to all of my students with all of the sounds for the entire year right at the beginning. And as we get to the sounds, they can fill in the blank boxes with other sound words. They can follow along with me. They can highlight. They can tap out the sounds and the words. It's just a great tool for whole group or small group.
Now I want to walk you through how I teach a day of second grade phonics. We are going to do day 1 of short A, so this is very early in the school year.
Today we're going to start with a warm-up to see if kids can hear and recognize the short A sound in words. Since this is day 1, I usually do this activity with my whole class. If they hear the sound, they're going to give a thumbs up. If they don't, you get the idea.
Rat. No. Map. Red. Heart. Yes. Bath. Mask.
Now we are going to move on to phonological awareness. If you are new to the science of reading, phonological awareness is being able to recognize the sounds and words and manipulate them. I'm going to ask them where in the word is the ah sound located. And I'm going to call on volunteers who will raise their hand and say beginning, middle, or end. Add. Act. Ham. Alligator. Plan. Ask. Ant. And. Letter sound correspondence activities focus on relating letters to the sounds they make. For today's letter sound correspondence activity, students need to be able to point out where the ah sound is in each word. All of these are initial ah words, so I will be adding to this from my words and sound list that I have in my binder. This part of the lesson can be done in whole or small groups. I like to do it small group because then more student volunteers have a chance to point out the short A sound in the words. However, if you are doing this whole group, a great way is to have these poster booklets printed out for the entire class, and they can point out the ah sounds in their book or highlight them. Word blending is a great way to differentiate your phonics instruction. Today I am going to use level 1 words with my emerging group and level 2 words with my group that is ready to move on. Level 2 words provide a bit more challenge this week because they incorporate consonant blends. Let's take a look at my word blending routine with 2 different leveled groups.
I'm going to start with a level 1 word, ham. I would show students we would tap it out first. You could use counters, you could use Play-Doh, and then we tap it out, and blend it. Ham. Now we are going to try a level 2 word. I'm going to do my dots first. And now I'm going to tell students we're going to spell the word plant. P-L-A-N-T. Now let's blend it. Plant. This is a great routine to do with poppets as well.
A word building routine can be difficult to manage because who wants paper, tile, letter squares all over the classroom floor or lost in student desks? So I have a few suggestions for this. Model these things and students will understand that we don't just dump and shake these things all over the place.
I teach my students to lay their bag flat on their desk, open it up, and pull out all of the letter tiles as one pile. I have my students straighten out and lay their tiles in rows the best they can. I usually play a short little song during this so they know they're quickly and quietly preparing their letters. And then I have them pull out the sound of the week and put it at the top. So this week we're pulling up our A, having it ready to go. We'll leave the A at the top and not move it down into the rest of the letters. This saves a lot of time. Now we look for our P and our N, and we'll tap it out. Pan. Then just sweep your letters into a pile and sweep them into the bag.
With dictation and encoding, we're seeing if students can take spoken words, translate them into the individual phonemes in their mind, and get them down on paper. This can be done whole or small group. Let's take a look at this routine.
We are going to use the level 1 words for this demonstration. I have students get their papers or whiteboards ready. I say, when I give you a word, pull it apart in your mind or with your whisper voice and then write it on your paper. The first word is had. You may have some reversals in words with B or D, and I try to correct those instantly as I check each student's work.
During this step of your lesson, as you observe students thinking and writing, notice if there's students that are having trouble matching the letter sounds to the correct letter. If so, it's probably time to form a letter sound correspondence small group. Other students may need to step back to word blending and word building. The best part about small groups is they're flexible and you can differentiate them to meet the needs of your class whenever.
Now it's time for decodable text. This is text that students can decode with sounds they already know. We have these phonics mats, and I'm also going to use the fold and decode and the phonics poem, which has 5 days of work that go with the poem. This will be great decodable practice.
I hope this video demonstrates how easy it is to implement science of reading aligned phonics instruction in your classroom. Feel free to comment any questions you have. I'd love to answer. Until next week, happy teaching! And remember, if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to catch our videos every week.